Ma'am, you are live.
Hi, everyone. A very good afternoon from me and from the entire Dynamic CIO and Google Cloud team. Welcome to today's episode of Meet with Digital Thinkers, the Fireside series that we have been running for the last few months. And in this series, we have been showcasing stories of digital leaders and how they have been transforming businesses using technology. And before I come to today's very interesting story, I just want to take a few minutes to set the context of what is going to be happening today. So now, when we all look at the marketplace, arriving at the right product market fit marks business success. And when combined with an innovative idea, it marks redefining the whole market. And that's how unicorns are born. Now, while a unicorn is born of innovation, even more critical is how fast you can do that and how rapidly you can scale it up to keep pace with the rapidly changing customer and market expectations. And success in the marketplace is based on several factors. So, when it comes to building unicorns, the fast and agile beat the slow, and the flexible and the scalable beat the rigid. And most importantly, not losing track of productivity and efficiency while building along the massive growth trajectory. Now, in today's episode, we bring to you the story of one such unicorn that stands testimony to this. And it is not just any unicorn, it is, in fact, India's first gaming unicorn. And I'm talking about Dream Sports, India's largest fantasy sports company with brands like Dream11, FanCode, Dreams to Go, and DreamPay. I am sure the company needs no introduction. Everyone is aware of this fantastic company, and of course, it has been in the news with the IPL. And you all have seen it at play. Now, whether it is enabling seamless collaboration at work or it is ensuring reliability and quality metrics of the app, cloud is helping Dream Sports redefine the boundaries of speed, scale, and agility. And to talk about how Google Cloud is helping Dream Sports execute its vision of changing the way Indian sports fans connect with sports, I have with me Abhishek Ravi, Chief Information Officer, Dream Sports. Abhishek leads the DevOps, IT, and security for the organization and is responsible for bridging the gap between business and security requirements and identifying the best suited technical solutions. Abhishek has over 19 years of experience in technology, consumer internet product development, and security. He is focused on solving real consumer problems using innovative, scalable, and performance oriented solutions. Before Dream Sports, Abhishek has worked with Infruit.com, Tricom India, and Infosys in various technology leadership roles. And as a strong believer in values, he puts a lot of effort into creating a great team culture. So, welcome, Abhishek. We are really very happy and to have you here for us with this fireside chat, and thank you so much for taking out time for this. And to take the discussion forward, I would like to invite Kamolika Perez, Director Sales, Google Cloud India. Kamolika is a seasoned business leader and technologist. She comes with over 20 years of experience in consulting, business and technology transformation, and enterprise sales. Kamolika has been a passionate advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion during her career, sponsoring the efforts on behalf of SAP India during her tenure there as VP, as well as participating in numerous other forums and interest groups on women in technology. So, welcome, Kamolika. And before I hand it over to Abhishek and Kamolika, just a request to all of you: if you have any questions for Abhishek and Kamolika, you can drop in the questions on the Q&A box, which is there in front of you, and we will take up those questions towards the end during the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, fire them away. And Kamolika, I'll hand it over to you to take the discussion forward with Abhishek.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shipra. Thanks for that fabulous intro. And Abhishek, welcome once again to the show. Real pleasure to have you here on board with us. And especially at this time when you've just concluded, the largest ever IPL, something that was managed so seamlessly, by Dream 11 in the middle of a pandemic and a remote work situation. So tell us a little bit, about that, just to start the ball rolling. How was that? And that must have been quite the experience.
Thank you, Shipra and Kamalika. That was very generous introduction. Yeah. It was a dream come true, right, for me, especially Kamalika, right? I think I shared this across with some of the other mates. It's my 8th year at Dream Sports, right? I joined in Dream 11, and ever since I always dreamt of having an IPL being sponsored by IPL, right? So, in that sense, it was a great journey for me and for the team, of course. As you told, we had a smooth and a very successful IPL, the biggest and the largest one ever, right? And that too in this pandemic situation when pessimism was all over. BCCI thinks and probably makes a decision that they will hold over the IPL at an outside venue. You can all understand the logistics part and mind you, nobody from us traveled to the office, right? We all made it possible working from home. So that's the power of technology, and probably what we are going to talk today. That would talk a lot more about that. How did we manage this scale?
No, absolutely. I'm looking forward to hear more details, but I'm sure it must have been an absolutely fantastic effort, on behalf of the Dream 11 team. So would love to hear more details as we get into the conversation. Before we start, Abhishek, you of course been with Dream 11 for a very long time, almost since inception, right? Uh, Tell us a little bit about how this journey was. How Dream 11 grew from from inception to this largest fantasy sports platform, almost inventing really this category in India, right? And really creating a very special story and scripting that story for itself, right? So tell us about that story and what it felt like to be a part of that journey.
Sure. I think that's a great, interesting story to probably inquire about or read about on web. Harsh and Bhavit, who are the co-founders and founder and co-founder of Dream 11, now Dream Sports. Um, they in 2008-9 when the IPL just got launched, right? They were just in lookout for a good website who which could actually be used to play fantasy gaming of any sort of, right? Because Harsh was a big football fan, and ESPN fantasy was already there, right? But to their dismay and to their opportunity, there was none, right? That's how the idea for having an India grown fantasy website came in Harsh and Bhavit's mind. They both are hard sports fans, right? Uh, as long as my journey is concerned, I joined in 2013, and the company actually got incubated in 2008-9 era itself. But in 2012-13, the model got changed to freemium subscription based model, right? And that's where we completely went off the advertisement based model, and you will not find a single advertisement on Dream 11 app, right? So that has been our USP. We want to give the best of the product to the users, and users love it, right? So that's at the end what matters.
No, absolutely, and I think as you have witnessed this, obviously this massive growth, the teams growing, the business, of course, growing exponentially. Just wanted to ask you about when you were looking for a collaboration platform, like how teams interact at work. That really creates the culture of an organization, right? And that's also our observation at Google, that how dynamic the culture is, how fast paced the environment is. All of that has a very strong correlation to the tools that we use to work with each other and with our customers and external stakeholders within the organization, right? And with this in mind, I just wanted to ask you about your the sort of process you went through when selecting, let's say, Google Workspace, as a collaborative platform for yourself? What were the factors that led to your decision?
So, Kamolika, I mean, as you have rightly placed, right, agility is one of the key factor for you to remain up in the game and probably help out, because users wants the features. The users want the best, right? You cannot plea the same reason that okay, we have. I mean, you cannot have any kind of excuses because there is no second best, right? I mean, very few domains would have second best and opportunity with regard to that, and that's our mantra, right? So, and for that we were very very early adopters of Google Workspace. We have really seen its growth also along with us. Um, and it really helped because especially after this pandemic lockdown, when it was announced, right? And it was just announced before an IPL. Luckily, the IPL also got postponed, but we were ready. And Google Workspace was our true partner in that sense, right? We were ready with the Hangout and Meet, the collaborative tools. People were able to work on different kind of sheets, docs, and that too all with a secure environment, right? So that all helped us to be ready with this work from home situation, which is still going on, right? And it doesn't feel like we have lost on productivity anymore, right? I don't have a very very real comparison, right, on terms of measurable factors, but um, to my knowledge and to the teams, this thing, our performance has been, in fact, we cut down on our travel time and things like that, so it has been good. Yeah, of course there are other reasons to be in the office, right? You always miss out that personal touch.
Yeah.
But yeah, in that sense, Google Workspace have been fantastic. As I told you, now we are a group of companies, right? Dream 11 is a flagship company in that
True.
Dream Sports, but we have Fan Code, we have Dream Set Go, we have a incubator program called DreamX, under which we are already incubating several products. One of which is DreamPay, which we used as a payment solution in this IPL. We have Dream Set Go for Dream Sports tourism. So. All of our sister concern have been able to work seamlessly with each other, plus the access control, right? It's not that everybody has got everything, so we have been also able to compartmentalize things, but never felt like we are missing on things or we are not able to collaborate seamlessly. And I think big kudos to Google Workspace for that.
No, no, thank you for that, Abhishek, and I think thank you for sharing those experiences. So, as you know, most of India's unicorns, such as Dream Sports, use, Google Workspace, right? And I just wanted to ask you that: do you think that there is something from a speed of response, agility, availability, etc., that actually makes this very suitable to a very high performance, high paced environment, such as Dream Sports?
No, of course, speed, agility, and scale are three fundamental pillars of our growth, right? We cannot compromise or we will not go for any tool which will actually be not performing or not scaling at our speed, right? That's the given. And as far as Google Workspace is concerned, they were a true partner into our journey of becoming India's first gaming unicorn. And we have been able to collaborate seamlessly and with security, which I cannot emphasize less. Probably later on in our discussion, we might get some bit on the security part. But yeah, and that has become on the forefront, especially in these times when you cannot guarantee who is working from where, what kind of network are they using, what kind of information is being shared with anybody. So that brings security at the forefront for us.
Yes, and in fact, that's a perfect segue to the next thing that I wanted to ask you, because I think you took a decision to actually upgrade, and I think that large part of that was probably driven by the security features and the need that you felt, especially during the pandemic, right? Because, like you said, security was suddenly front and center. and probably something that would have been okay before because people were mostly interacting in the office now became a very very critical aspect of what package you were using and what platform you were working on, right? So was that the same decision that led you to kind of rethink and upgrade your platform accordingly?
That was one of the major factor, right? In order to collaborate seamlessly, how can we be very assured of the security? So the systems IT and the security team should not be perceived. Our philosophy is that they should not be perceived as blocker to your speed and growth, right?
Right.
However, it should not be as free as anybody can do anything, and we are not in control of things, right? So
Hmm.
to have that ideal balance, I think that was the one of the driving factors to go with upgrade on that. Besides that, I think the data backup, the identity manager, we are using loads of third-party tools, right,
Right.
for our many other things, and SSO becomes very critical for us
Hmm.
because we cannot manage um, passwords and user ID and passwords and who have we given. Some of the times people get frustrated because we become the bottleneck. Systems IT and security team becomes the bottleneck, right?
Right.
So that SSO integration, right? That was also one of the great features, so that we can now seamlessly integrate with all the
Right.
tools. And almost, I think, I am not very sure on the data, but more than 90% of our tools, and more than 90% of the tools in the market are now Google SSO enabled, right?
Right.
So that works like a charm if you can just integrate. And while onboarding, while exit process, everything,
Hmm.
it just helps you to be in charge of the things.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for sharing that, Abhishek. I'm going to shift gears a little bit and ask you about your applications, which are of course extremely mission critical, in the manner that they operate, right? And I wanted to ask you about your use of Firebase and the use of Firebase for scaling your applications to cater to the massive user base that Dream 11 and Dream Sports has built.
Yeah, I mean, Fire again with Firebase also we I think we started using Firebase in 2014-15 era itself, if I'm not wrong, right? Of course, I can again say we have seen it's also a growth. Before it was Firebase and FCM, and then got integrated with Google and became GCM, and how much feature integration that it had, and now how integral part of our system it has become. Yeah, so it was initially we had adopted it for crash reporting and notifications purpose. Uh, of course, there were issues with regard to, I think at one point of time we had to reach out to Firebase team because it could only support 100K connections for one account, right? I still remember, and we were crossing that particular
Right.
number of sessions, right? We in this IPL itself we saw 5.5 million concurrency almost, right? And then actually we both the both engineering team actually sat together and we devised that okay, we will have sharded accounts, and each account would have 100K at that point of time. I think now the limits have been increased much
Yeah,
more
that's right.
than that, right? But now we have started to use it for a very good use case that we are using is feature flagging, right? So we can, without any fear, we can release any feature, and we can just expose it to some percentage of the user, or if it has to be rolled back, we can just make that feature flag off, and it just goes out of the app. And it gives a lot of power to my engineering team to experiment things, right? And having said that, we do a lot of A/B testing experiments using
Right.
Firebase, right? So those are the things that we are using extensively. We are also using it for a lot of performance aspect, right? So it gives, on the client side we can know what is the first paint time response, um, what is the crash rates, what is the API time taken, and on basis upon that we have done a lot of optimization. So prior to this IPL itself, Firebase has been one of the critical component which has helped our apps to become much and much performant and resilient, right? So that has been another fantastic use case that we have used Firebase for.
Great, Nam. I'm so glad to hear it. So that especially as you say, it's a critical component of your ecosystem, and I think you started using it. I mean, of course, it's been a long journey with Firebase, but great that it's also it's scaled along the way and supported you in this particular IPL. So I'm sure it's a critical part of your business, but do you see that also continuing as we go forward?
Yeah, of course. I don't see a reason because it is very deeply integrated, and I think more and more it is becoming a self-sufficient database. Come a lot of A/B testing platform and analytics and probably crash reporting. So one-stop gateway for a lot many things, right? And I see a great future for Firebase if they can just stick to what they're doing the best.
Great, great. No, that's awesome. Great. So, Abhishek, while we've talked about a little bit about the collaboration culture and we've talked about, Firebase and all of that, I think what a lot of, the viewers on the session today would also want to know is how you plan to take ahead, technology transformation at Dream 11. Like, what is the vision that you want to paint and how do you propose to get there, right? So, if you can spend a few minutes just telling us a little bit about that, I think that will be very interesting to me and to everybody who's watching today.
No, of course, that's a very interesting question, right? So basically, we try to keep it simple, right? We try to keep user and data at the center of everything, right? At Dream Sports, no decision is made because some XYZ has told like that, right? Or my gut feeling is that, of course, gut helps, but it is not the factor to make decision process, right? So user first and data first are two approaches that we take, and that drives the product, the digital initiatives, and everything. So, of course, the data platform part is one of the digital initiatives that we are very interested going on. We want to become India's biggest and largest sports data platform, right? So in that sense, we need to have a data platform which can work seamlessly and can integrate as many as endpoints, and of course be able to talk to many tools so that different kind of analytics can be done at runtime, right? And it really immensely helps people to make and do hypothesis and do experiments, right? Even if we fail, we love failing fast, right? And taking the learnings out of it. And unless you have fast data feedback mechanism, you cannot achieve that particular vision. And of course, with user first, we hear them day in, day out. And what they and with users, I'm not only saying the external users, our internal users, and that's where Google Workspace come in, right? We always get the feedback, right? That how are they satisfied? What else do they require? And that was one of the feedback points that we moved to enterprise, seeing that okay, these are the pain points that they are facing up. Last but not the least, one of the major digital initiatives is security, right? And we want to get as paranoid in terms of security as it can be, right? Kamolika, you have been working for us on the cloud part, right?
Sure.
So this would be something that we will be very very seriously taking in coming years, and I think India is also moving in that direction where data and its related security aspects would become critical for any company's success. So we want to preload, front load all these initiatives that we are ready and ready to give the best of experience to the users.
And tell us a little bit, maybe in conclusion, Abhishek, about the whole ecosystem that you're building, right? The whole Dream Sports ecosystem. So, of course, Dream 11, but also, DreamX, Fan Code, Dream Pay, that you just started. How do you see the technology kind of, sustaining this whole ecosystem, as you grow it out?
So as I call as I read somewhere, scale is an unfinished art, right? So you always would have a challenge on scale, right? Once you achieve some point, we have achieved 5.5 million concurrency, but we now want to make it at 5.5. Can it, if some of my system is taking 10 seconds to do a batch job at the back end, can it be made to do in 2 seconds or 1 second? So,
Yeah.
of course, but yeah, it's something that we have learned over the years. We will be sharing it with the community, some of our learnings very, very soon. But yeah, with technology, again, we go back to this thing. We do a lot of load testing. Again, no, your or my gut feeling or what I like to do or what I feel it is good. It's all data which speaks. So any technology stack we use for the use case basis. If the use case demands it, and if it proves in the load testing part, we have a very extensive load testing platform, by the way. It's also custom created by us because
Yeah.
we felt that to have a production versus load testing, people, you will always hear people saying that they are not same, right? However much you do the load testing, you cannot replicate the production, and that's the
That's
challenge we
right.
have given to our performance team. They are trying to inch towards it, and more day by day they are
Uh-huh.
becoming better at it. So that's how we take technological decisions, Kamolika, at Dreamy Sports.
No, fantastic, Abhishek. Thank you for sharing those perspectives with us. I think they were, illuminating for me as well as the folks on the call today. One last question that I wanted to ask you. You did tell me that this time, because the technology was in place, you had the bandwidth to see a few matches, which you normally don't manage to do. So, which team were you supporting?
So basically, Mumbai Indians, right?
Oh, yay!
We are in Mumbai. I mean, there is
Yes.
only one office of Dream 11, which is in Mumbai. And yeah, at heart, we are Mumbai Indian fans, right? Though very rarely I get to see matches, right? But this time, because of this pandemic, right? I don't know whether
Right.
to thank it or not. It's another debatable matter, right? But yeah, I could see some of the matches, and yeah, final was great.
Yeah, awesome. Absolutely. Completely agree. I'm also a Mumbai Indians fan, so we had something to cheer about there. Great. Thank you so much, Abhishek. That was a really engaging chat. Thank you for sharing your perspectives. And I am now going to hand back to Shipra for to carry on with the next segment.
Absolutely. My pleasure to share some of my learnings and probably looking out some questions. And anytime if somebody wants to reach out to us and the learnings, we will be always happy to share. We are, by the way, coming up with some learnings which we will see in very recent times that we can share on scale. Yeah,
Oh, that will be fantastic, I'm sure, for everyone. Absolutely.
sure.
Great. Thank you so much, Abhishek. I think, when you said that you shared your learnings, I think you much more than shared your learnings around technology. I think you shared a whole lot of learnings for businesses, who are actually dreaming big. And, the way you put it across, how it's not just one company. I mean, what started with just one company called Dream 11 today has actually expanded into a whole ecosystem. And the fact that you're leveraging uh, technology, and more specifically, let me add here, cloud to really bring those possibilities, to make those possibilities into reality, is something which is really inspiring. And I think this is also empowering for other businesses, that leveraging technology can actually help them in taking their business to the next level. But of course, it has to start with a good idea, with a good business idea, which in your case you had, and you leverage it well with technology. So thank you so much for your time, and I'm so happy that this time that you not only worked on the back end of the technology for IPL, but also you could watch some of the matches. And I'll come back to you with the questions. We just have one more session now, and then I'll be back with the questions. Thank you, Kamolika, for this taking us through this discussion. And so, viewers, if you have any questions for Abhishek and Kamolika, please do drop them in. As you can see, it was an exciting discussion, and any questions that you have, feel free to drop them. And now moving forward, while Abhishek and Kamolika were talking about the whole technology and the whole cloud journey of Dream Sports, what I realized that a very important part of this equation is the partner. The partner plays a key role in ensuring that this journey actually moves forward in the right direction, and the results that you had planned, you actually optimize those results. So to really talk about the partner aspect, the value add that the partner brings to the table, I would like to invite Jatin Soni, Director, Team Digital Engineering, Team Computers. Jatin has over 23 years of experience in the industry and is part of the core management at Team Computers. So, Jatin, over to you.
Thank you, Shipra, and thank you, Abhishek, for sharing all the learnings that Dream 11 has got over the period of time. Wonderfully executed the IPL this year during this pandemic. I think I have watched almost all the matches. I couldn't figure out any match where the background noise was creating like it was an actual audience,
Yeah.
in the stadium. So it was like didn't felt like boring and wonderfully executed. And congratulations to Mumbai. We from Delhi are really saddened about that. Well, at least first time Delhi made it to the finals. So that was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for Delhi.
They played awesome cricket. I really should appreciate the team and the way Shreyas and other people have chipped in. I think they were
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, but bad luck and many congratulations to Mumbai Indians again. I think it has been a very um, it's nothing new for Mumbai Indians now because every time they are they are winning it. Okay. I'll quickly share about Team Computers, about, what team does. Let me share a presentation. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. So at
Yeah.
Team Computers, we are basically focusing on three broad areas. If you look at one is the think part, then build and operate. So that has been our key operating mantras. I'll take each one of them on the next slides. Over the journey, team with this 33 years in the domestic market, having a pan India operations, close to around 1,600 crore company, and we are gunning for 2,000 crore by next year. Close to around 2,500 customers across various industries and verticals that we are operating, various segments. We have enterprise customers, mid market, government and PSU, and small SMBs. Overall, 3,000 members across the country. On the think part, there are majorly four areas where we are focusing. One is analytics, second is application, third is collaboration, and fourth is automation. With these four pillars, we are able to help customers to reimagine their processes, innovate their operations, so that they can provide better customer experience. So in analytics, we're talking about AI, ML, and big data, building up data lakes, visualization, advanced analytics, and with collaboration, Office Productivity Suites, which we're talking about with Google Workspace, building, doing automations, with our RPA kind of a solutions. And we have partnered with all the technology leaders which are there in the market, having a very broad spectrum across all these four areas, helping our customers so that they can provide better customer experience to their customers. On the build part, what we call as digital plumbing, setting up the entire infrastructure, both on-prem and on cloud. Uh, we're talking about the one on side, we're talking about end user computing with laptop, desktops, and printers. On the other side, we are talking about data center, which is on-prem and also on cloud. So building networking around and integrating everything into one place. So that is what we do. And then we ensure everything that has been set up, it works and it is in use. So by providing infrastructure management support services through staffing solutions, through AMC support, break-fix support, managed services, and also we have our remote infrastructure services, which basically helps all our cloud customers and also all our customers managing their data centers on-prem, monitoring their data centers real time. We have our one facility in Gurgaon, one in Bangalore, where this team is. And during this pandemic time, this center has actually helped us in operating, not actually visiting the customer on site, but managing all their infrastructure remotely. Our go-to market, right now, if you look at all these industry, one of the uh, key focus for every industry is how can they increase their sales, how can they reduce their cost, how they can optimize their operations, build in securities and compliance. These verticals are basically where team majorly focuses upon. And with these verticals, we have built various frameworks around analytics and applications that we have built around. For example, an auto OEM, they are looking at building digital showrooms and digital catalogs. Most of the companies, even in our organization, we do a lot of business of IT spare parts, and it was very difficult for us during this pandemic. How do we make our spare parts reach out to the customers, and how can they buy? Because the offices are all closed down, nothing is operating. So we have built our own digital catalog where all the spare parts and the customers can just go and log in, and then they can order it like an Amazon experience, where we buy a lot of things online. So these things are getting various these all these industries are looking forward to building their applications, and how can they move digitally and provide better customer experience. So these are the various verticals that we focus upon and have built various solutions uh, around these verticals. Our Google partnership, I think I really take proud and pride in talking about it. This has been like almost close to 12 years now with this relationship. And we were the ones who got Google Enterprise in India back in 2009. And close to around 700 customers, the metric that has been written over here, we have more than 6 lakh users that we are serving. Largely, our experience has been in managing large enterprise where there are complex migrations and a lot of deployment and training needs are there. And second is it has to be a customer where spread across various locations. That has been our expertise. We have certified specialists around, and one of the major services that we have realized in the Google overall is the change management. People are used to uh, work on an email, just on email, but how can we leverage the entire collaborative environment? That requires a lot of cultural change. And that paradigm shift can only happen when you engage with end users in the change management process. So we have that change management and adoption team, which basically helps the entire user base to move from using the working in a legacy environment to a new collaborative unified environment. So not just Google Workspace, but we are also having a big practice around Google Cloud Platform and on Google Chrome, and as well on the Google Search Enterprise. I'll play a small video on this.
G Suite reimagines the way teams collaborate so your business has the tools it needs to create its best work together faster. Here's one example. Sammy forgot her Pixel book on her kitchen counter this morning, but luckily for her, she's able to grab a loaner Chromebook and log in instantly with her two-factor authentication security key. Organizations like Sammy's that use these keys have reported 0 account hijackings. Hangouts chat makes it easy for Sammy to collaborate with her team. 2 days? That's crazy! Sammy's team can share docs, sheets, and slide presentations right in the chat room, and the correct permissions are added automatically. In Slides, it's simple for Sammy's team to collaborate in real time, and they know exactly what next steps are because comments and action items can be assigned to specific owners.
Julie needs Sammy to look up some information. With Cloud Search, Sammy can use the same technology that powers Google Search to quickly find the data and documents she needs across G Suite and the tools her company uses most, like Salesforce. Sammy's team can work together in Sheets in real time, making sure the data is always up to date. No one gets a workbook is locked warning. And just like docs or slides, Sheets lets you make comments to other collaborators or create trackable action items. With Explore in Sheets, Sammy can find insights in her data by asking questions in plain English, like, what is the average revenue per region? Sheets uses natural language processing to understand Sammy's request and give her the answer she needs instantly. Ah, there's the number Julie was asking about. Some topics are best discussed face-to-face, but setting up meetings takes time Sammy just doesn't have under her tight deadline. In Google Calendar, smart suggestions take the headache out of scheduling. Calendar suggests meeting times that work for everyone. It even recognizes time zones and work blocks, like how Rosa is in Madrid and Nick is in New York. And when it's time to meet, Sammy joins Hangouts Meet right from Calendar. Her teammates can also join from a phone or outside domains. Plus, it's easy to present materials like documents, or even a Jamboard session. While presenting, Sammy can continue working in real time. Sammy can even type a phrase like Julie to follow up on this, and Google will leverage the power of natural language processing to create an action item. It even knows which Julie to assign it to. And when Sammy needs to send an email, Gmail's Smart Compose can offer suggestions as she types, saving valuable time. G Suite takes security seriously. To manage sensitive email communications, Sammy uses confidential mode in Gmail. This lets her put restrictions on messages, so they can't be forwarded, copied, downloaded, or printed. Okay, Sammy sent the email. And naturally, she goes back to chat, where this all started. Finding a time that works for everyone isn't easy. But with the Meet bot, Sammy can enter a simple command with the names of the attendees, and Meet will figure out who they are and when they're available. Whether it's an urgent exec request or an everyday project, G Suite can help reimagine work for enterprise companies like yours.
Superb. I think every time I see this video, it gives me a feeling like this is a true integrated platform. And just a sec, I think it's yeah. Sorry about it. So as you've seen in this video, this actually shows how Google Workspace is so tightly integrated with all the uh, tools that are there. Starting from just drafting an email and then going and creating a document. From that document, editing it real time with all the users on it, and I can analyze those document as well if I want to analyze my data in that, and then moving it to the chat and doing a real time Hangouts, and then on doing a Google Meet I can share my screen and then do a real time discussion from that. So beautifully. So three areas where Google Workspace actually helps us. One is in the communicate, where I have email, chats, and video that we have just seen. And through that, I can immediately move to the collaboration piece, where I can have all the documents collaborated, where all the users can come in on a real-time basis and they can edit the sheets and work on the documents real time. And everything well controlled under the security. One of the things that we have heard a lot, and Google is very, very obsessed about the security part of it, and how can we build the entire security layer and the governance layer around these tools so that it is very effective. Some of the use cases, some of the customer that we have worked, and we are really take pride in that. One is DTDC, and we have Mrinal over here, where we have migrated their all their users, 5,000 users. It was a record break migration for us, where 64 terabyte of data was migrated in just 9 days. And we have got all those users onboarded, up and running for them. We have Dainik Bhaskar, again, large 11,000 users, and they are all have used Google and embraced Google a lot. We just spoke about Dream 11, and thanks to Abhishek, and we have been working working very closely with them in terms of providing all the support and services that they're looking at too. Plus, we have many other customers, many other customers around each vertical that you talk about, be it financial services or airlines or digital native companies, manufacturing organizations. We have done implementations and migrated from the legacy systems to move them and migrate them to the Google Cloud. More customers that we have around that. And thank you very much, and we are here to serve you with love. Thank you very much. Over to you, Shipra.
Thank you, Jatin, for that presentation. I think it does give a good overview of what Team Computers brings to the table. Now, with that, it's time for the Q&A segment, and we have been receiving some questions from our viewers, and I will take those questions one by one. So the first question is for you, Abhishek, and the question is that did you face any challenges with change management when implementing G Suite, and how did you go about managing it? I think it's a very relevant question, and that's change management is one area where a lot of businesses actually struggle with. So if you can throw some light on that. Abhishek, you're on mute.
I'm sorry. Um, sure. I think one of the good thing for us that, as I told you in the discussion itself, we were the early adapters of Google Workspace, right? So I can tell you the change management schema of things once we move from standard edition to enterprise, right? And how did we go about that? So change management, as Jatin has also put it very nicely, it's always about showing the value to the end stakeholder, right? Once they get the buy-in, once you show them the value out of it and what it's going to be, and whether it addresses their pain areas, then it becomes very easy for driving it through in the company. So as Jatin has already presented in that presentation, probably we are using it day in day out, those kind of features, right? And that is helping out. And the kind of tech company we are, we love any kind of AI automation, and the more and the better machine learning integrations and automated anomaly detection, security warnings, and things like that, right? So those are the things, and we are very confident that this would evolve. It's not going. It's a living product, right? So change management in that sense was very easy for us, in that sense that it showed a lot of value. Yeah, of course, there is some bit of resistance in terms of you are already set to a pattern, right? And if you have to get away from it, you need to see the value out of it. So we arrange the training sessions to the users internally. We Google and Team Computers also helped us a lot for our internal understanding, right? How can we best use? And I think they are still very involved with us to let us leverage the full value out of it. Many other times we have seen that we only use 40 to 60%, right? Because there is that end of the spectrum, which probably if you get a 3 to 4 hours of guidance, then you can leverage it much more. And this time we are very aggressive in that. So my team is reaching out very proactively, so as Google and other team stakeholders. So that way we did the change management.
Great. I think very well said, Abhishek, when you said that, it's all about, showing the value. And once you showcase the value to the users, I think there is no going back to the old way of working for them. Great. So the next question is for you, Kamolika. That the question is that we have seen G Suite being used by digital natives. So do we have references where traditional manufacturing organizations have implemented as well?
Yes, I think the best testament was to the names that Jatin just presented, right? I mean, you could see the whole slew of organizations from the length and breadth of Indian industry, across verticals who are actually adopting G Suite, right? In fact, a few weeks back, I was on this forum, in a fireside chat with Voltas, right? And they were talking about their G Suite transformation, and G Suite had been something they'd implemented about 5 years ago, right? So you can see that, organizations from all sectors of industry, with great legacies, right, are actually opting for Google Workspace, because of fundamentally one or two reasons, right? The first one, I think, is that it's really about bringing in that dynamic, fast-paced culture. It's bringing in the innovation culture that, let's say, the unicorns have, right? That Google itself has, because it is grew from Google's culture as well, right? And to bring that into their organizations, and also to be able to do it in a very secure and in a very, very, sort of well-rounded way, right? Also, the increasingly the workforce that's entering these organizations are coming having already used, Google Workspace, in a private capacity. So you are actually getting a workforce that is, intimately aware. They're very, very familiar with how Workspace works, and they come into the organization expecting that same level of ease of use and collaboration within their teams, right? So there are a few, I think, very, very well anchored reasons, and we're seeing a great escalation, a great acceleration, sorry, in terms of the adoption of Google Workspace, even within the traditional space.
Great. Jatin, this is the next question is for you, and I think it's a very important question. It must be on a lot of viewers' mind, which is that can organizations carry out a new rollout of G Suite in the post-pandemic time? When and how will remote implementation be carried out in such a case?
Yeah, definitely. I think this. I would say, if you look at Google, it's a true native cloud uh, collaboration system. So it doesn't matter whether you are during the pandemic or post-pandemic. Uh, we can and any customer can start rolling out G Suite. I would rather say Google Workspace. G Suite was an older version of it. Uh, we have well-established teams, remote management services that I spoke about in my presentation. That basically enables the entire customer base. And you don't need to be physically present at the customer location because there is nothing on-prem that I have to go and install any server or configure any server or set up any server in the rack and doing data center activities. It's just log in on a console and configuring all the users and bringing every users on board. Another thing is which we have actually experienced, which we have not done it before, was the change management part, and that's something we have experienced and also learned over the period of time, and enabling the end users during this pandemic time as well, engaging with them remotely and doing a lot of change management sessions and bringing them on board. So to answer you, Shipra, definitely it can be done very easily, very smoothly, and seamlessly.
Great. I think that's really great to know that. Um, Abhishek, there's one more question for you. And while you did mention about your absolute focus on security towards the end of the chat with Kamolika, so there's this question which says that did you have any security concerns with user data on your apps, and how are you managing it on Google Cloud?
Right. I mean, we are using Google Workspace, and the data is on Google Workspace Cloud. Just to clarify that, right? And we have while moving from standard to enterprise edition, we did our internal security checkup. Um, of course, there is Google assurance that these are the security levels in place, and but we also make sure that we also do that thorough checkup and thorough testing and auditing, and that proved to be very satisfactory for us, right? So to give some examples, right? I mean, in Google Docs, it's very easy for you to probably share it with somebody outside your organization and then forget about it later on, and then probably you can probably edit it with some sensitive information, right? Now we can actually do some automation, probably, which actually gives you this information periodically, that okay, these are the files which are shared with somebody outside the organization, and do you still want to continue it, right? So such kind of I'm just giving one example which our team could figure out and did an automation, probably using the levers that we have got. Plus we have got this identity management platform, right, wherein we can just do a very good SSO integration. As I told you about that, it actually brings a lot of value to it. In all the collaborative platforms, there are levers wherein you can just say that do not make it downloadable, do not make it, and all those things you can actually log it at your backend and probably see the activities without compromising the content part of it, right? So that nobody is seeing your content, but activities could be monitored, right? Which is itself is a good, very good indicator and assurance provider that you can probably understand what is going on, right? Of course, our team being technical, we write on top of it, right? And we use those things as our given APIs kind of thing, right? And we write on top of it to create our custom rules. But yeah, those are the things that we really feel that Google Workspace Cloud, we are very, very secure with it. We keep loads of our data over there. In fact, our backup goes there, right? So our policy is that we can actually take somebody's laptop and replace it in 1 hour, and all the data would be available to them, right? Without compromising that's our SLA. If somebody breaks the laptop or loses their laptop, this is how soon we can make them again productive.
Great. I think thanks for sharing those examples of how security, is actually a key pillar of Google Workspace. Kamolika, the next question is for you, and it says that Google has only one data center in the country. So how do you ensure 100% uptime and availability?
Okay, that's a great question again. So, when it comes to infrastructure management and uptime and availability, local availability of a data center is only one aspect of it, right? And Google's practices on managing infrastructure, at a planet scale level, has grown over many, many years, right? So, right from, sort of the engineering that goes into the chip and the hardware to, the cables that connect, continents, like the subsea cables, all of that, and the whole infrastructure management around it, that's what really goes into our uptime and availability, right? So think of the Google applications that run on your phone, right? It could be YouTube, it could be Google Maps, it could be Google Search, right? The uptime and the availability and the response that you get on those, it's globally delivered, right? So that's really what you see on Google Cloud, therefore, is the result of the learnings of years of research and development that have gone into delivering those kind of services, right? But having said that, yes, we have a data center in India. We're coming up with another one shortly. It's announced, for next year. And, this is something that we, enhancing the capabilities from an India perspective is something that we will continue to invest in.
So one question, Komalika, from my side. Right now, our videos are getting streamed from India data center or anybody and someplace other.
So Google Meet is globally delivered again. So again, it's a globally delivered capability.
Okay.
Great. So I think we have time to take just one last question. So Jatin, there's this question that is there any workshop that you do to help us assess the impact of moving to G Suite, which is now of course called Google Workspace, but I think everyone keeps referring to it as G Suite. So to assess the impact of moving to Google Workspace from our existing solution, to know the impact and the pros and cons if we decide to move to Google Workspace.
Yes, definitely we have that arrangements done with all our customers. Why not to leverage all the learnings that we have over the past many years of implementing Google. Earlier it was called G Apps and G Suite. Now it's called Google Workspace, and across various enterprises and the learnings. So most of the customers, they have most of them are still very paranoid about whether I should move to the cloud or not. What would be whether my cost will go up or not. They have their legacy systems, and as I said earlier, there is a culture which is working in silos, and moving them to a collaborative environment, and how collaboration can enhance their productivity is something very intangibly, thought so. So what we do is we have a very well planned, organized workshops for our customers across various industries and various functions, where we are helping them to gauge the entire impact of moving from the legacy to the Google Workspace. So we do certainly do those workshops, and at times we have to do it many times to various functions within the same organizations. So we do have those teams.
Great. I think we should have our viewers take advantage of those workshops that you spoke about. And I think with that,
And one other thing, Chitra, just to tell you, we do those workshops without any commitments. So it just
okay.
helps our customers to know that what can actually help them from moving from the legacy to the collaborative environment. So these workshops are all complimentary, and there is no charge to it and no commitment, no obligations.
So even better. So I think I would urge everyone to look at this offer by Jatin and take advantage of that. So I think we are dot at 4. So thank you so much, everyone. Abhishek, I would like to really thank you for taking out time among your busy schedule. I know even though the IPL has just ended, still you had a pretty packed schedule all these weeks. So thank you so much once again for sharing your cloud journey with us. And a lot of learnings for all our viewers, for the technology leaders who have joined us today, for them to take back with them and apply. Thank you, Kamolika, once again for taking us, for helping us through this journey of Dream Sports. And Jatin, thank you so much for your session as well, and especially to all our viewers, our attendees who have joined us for this session for this 1 hour. I hope you found this useful. And so we are, in fact, already started with the festive season. So season's greetings to all of you. Hope you have a great Diwali and hope it brings a lot of positive vibes going forward, and stay safe. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Happy Diwali.
Thank you. Happy Diwali. Thank you.
Happy Diwali.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.